but it's too complicated for now. We give the children many things, but here, the children depression inventory. 4 times. 1 time before the program, 3 times after. Okay? And we ask them the age of their first menstruation. But the beauty with this study is that when we went to the school at time 1, about half of the girls were already menstruating, but half not. And a lot of them started menstruating during the school year. So it's kind of the first prospective study of age at Menarche. We didn't know about that when we did the study. So I'll show you the data. We measured cortisol in the morning when we got there. And we had 2 schools. And the way that one school got the distress, one school did not, it's all controlled for. Okay, and I'm not going to talk to you about the impact of the program, but the testing was about the same months, and this is important in cortisol because cortisol shows seasonal variation. So you have to take season into account. Here are the groups. So we ended up with 4 groups. Boys, and then you had 93 girls who had reached menarche before time 1. So when we got in, they already were menstruating. And then you had 27 girls who reached menarche between time 1 and time 4. So within the school year, they started menstruating. And you had 112 girls. At the end of the school years, they were not menstruating. That's it. These are the results of the CDI over the 4 time points. And what we find is exactly what was out there in the literature, is that girls who were already menstruating at time 1, so this is a very early age at menarche, okay, but not very early, but it's early, had significantly higher CDI scores, so score on the child depression inventory, that girls who did not start menstruating at the end of the study, or boys. And girls who started in the middle are in the middle. I didn't have the data to make a nice graph, and I wasn't sure about the quality of the data, so I did not put it here, but I analyzed it twice. What is very interesting is the girls who started menstruating during the year, you have a significant increase in depression score. Now, I don't know if it's due to the menstruation or to the gender factor related to it. Suddenly, you're a woman. So, but I think we have to study this as well. We measured cortisol, and we found that cortisol in the girls who were menstruating at time 1 is significantly higher than boys and girls who did not start menstruating. So that is very consistent as well. And this is the age at menarche. What time did you start your menstruation? If you ask me, it's been a long time. I'm not sure that my report is good, but at 10, I think it's been there, done that. And you have this. This is the CDI score. So the later they start, the lower is the score. So we kind of confirmed this in a retrospective study, and we add up the biology out of this, and I think it's extremely interesting. So this is about what we have been doing in terms of sex factor, and what we are at this point is that age at menarche is associated with increased symptoms of depression in girls and increased basal cortisol levels. We are also interested in gender factors, and as I said, gender factors are more related to socialization. And in the Distress for Success studies, because I have students now interested in a lot of these factors, Rob said we should give them the BEM inventory for femininity and masculinity. The BEM inventory, I hate it, and Rob as well, but we're stuck with it because there's nothing better. So if you're good in psychometrics, please do another one. It's a measure of femininity and masculinity in terms of socially driven behavior. It has been constructed in 1974. You will agree with me that what was masculine or feminine in 74 may have changed. We're stuck with the scale. Everyone knows about it in the field. Everyone says that we should have a new one, but no one does it. But I'll show you data about the BEM. So we have used the BEM inventory scale to split the group in feminine behavior. So you can be a girl, but have a lot of masculine traits or a lot of feminine traits, and the same for boys. Got it? Simple. So this is the CDI score in the distressed kids. This is this child depression. So these are the girls, 6 girls. And this is the boys. As usual, girls after puberty are showing more depressive symptomatology than boys. Got it. But within the group, okay, when you have masculine traits, you are higher on depressive score than when you have feminine traits. And please do not ask me what it means. Robert is in the back of the room. okay? But it's very consistent. We have measured self-esteem because it's very important in teenagers, and it's related to depression. And we find exactly the same thing. Males have more self-esteem than females, we know about that. But within the groups, those who have more masculine traits have lower self-esteem. Perhaps because in a society like ours, having masculine traits, you can think about it for many and send me an email. But in conclusion, so what I'm telling you here is that we find some stuff. Now, what does it mean? It's another story, but it means that we cannot just collapse in an ANOVA and saying everything being otherwise equal. Not true anymore. Okay? So girls have higher CDI score, but masculinity will drive that. Just to finish that, we were interested in the masculine thing, because is it gender? Is it masculinity? Or women thing? Okay. So Rob did another study in workers, stress in workers, because there's a lot of burnout in workers. And we know that women, when they got into the job place, women who have non-traditional occupational roles, like managers, boss, whatever, report greater distress and espouse greater masculine traits. We know that. Okay? And so Rob asked, how do sex and gender relate to physiological problems? So this was a pilot study we did. So we measured the BEM as well in a group of stressed workers, and we measured cortisol and other biological markers. And we measure as well, masculinity and femininity. What we know is the more you are stressed, the higher the cortisol level. Fine. Okay? But what we found is this. The more you are on this side, the more masculine you are. And the more you are on this side, the more feminine. We didn't find any gender difference, right? Sex. Okay. So no sex difference, between males and women in terms of cortisol, or if there are, I don't remember. But whoever you are, men or women, the more masculine traits you have, the higher are your stress hormone levels. So it may not be sex per se more than the masculine traits. Okay? So this is the first preliminary evidence in the literature on stress that gender is related to stress biomarker as much as sex markers. Because in the stress literature, men are more reactive to stress than women. You bring someone in the lab, it's a man, you're going to stress these people faster than women. Okay? But it may not be related to the sex more than to the trait that are associated with manlyhood, if I may say so. And this is very interesting. It's an interpretation by Rob, but masculine type individuals, being men or women, may be more prone to hyperarousal pathologies that we have. Burnout. Okay? So we are at the beginning, and we are at the beginning of 2011. We have done a lot of studies, generating a lot of data. I have to end up, in my mind at least, with a model at the end of this chair, because if not, it will not have been worth it. So I may, the next time, give you a model. But for now, what we see is that gender is as important as sex, and this we cannot forget. Just to finish up, the second mission is to translate the knowledge. Extremely important for us. We do it through our intervention program, the De-Stress for Success program for teenagers. And I have a nice story. One day I had a phone call from the father of one of the child who got the adolescent who got the distress at school. And the guy was a big guy, a broker at the financial job, whatever. And he told me, he said, my son is in the study with you at school, and he says he never talks, he's a teenager, so he has no more frontal capacity. And so I have a unique child, and I was at the dinner table with my wife and talking about my day and how stressful it was, etc. And my son usually never say a word, and then suddenly he opened his mouth. And he said, that's easy, that I'm going to deconstruct your stress. It was stressful for you because it was new and relatable. And he said, when he said that, I realized that a lot of it made sense. So did you ever think about creating a program for the workplace? So I sat with Pierrick and the team again. So we are developing Stress Inc., this one, which is based on De-Stress for Success, but for the workers. And all of this is done through the knowledge transfer. We don't have a grant for that. We just have goodwill. But goodwill is good for your stress hormone levels anyway. And we do this because I think it's very, very important for us. We also created the website, which is something that is extremely popular with the public so far, www.humanstress.ca. We have it in French as well. And here, I really, really want to thank all the students in my lab. Please raise your hand because I think the job that these people are doing. Come on, guys, in the back. Where are you, Bob? These are 2, 3. I have more than that. They all do this free with me because they believe in that. So we translate this in French and in English. In French is www.stresshumain.ca. The doctors are sending their patient there when they say they are stressed. And we have nothing to sell. It's transfer of scientifically valid data on stress to those who can use it. We have a public section for moms and dads. We have a section for kids. We have a section for scientists. If you want to know the closest scientific conference on stress, go there. We have everything. And we also have, and I think you have the new version of it, of the Mammoth magazine, which is the official magazine of the center. For the name, just look at it, volume number 2, you'll understand. We have many, and again, this is very popular. It's written for the public. So it's in lay language, voluntary, so don't worry. Sex Difference in Stress is one that we have published. This one is very popular, Stress at Work. And the one that just came out yesterday, Genes and Stress. Do we have a gene for stress? I'll let you read it. Thank you.